Welcome to episode number 62 of the Debt Free Dad podcast. Today, Sammy Schopper is returning. And guys, I can't even tell you what Sammy's going to talk about here today because it is just so good. Sammy was on our show about 4 or 5 months ago, and she shared some exciting progress that she has made. And since then, has made tremendous progress. And if you're looking for some motivation, some hope in your situation, you guys have got to listen to this show today. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Debt Free Dad podcast, where we're helping normal, everyday people learn how to save money and kick debt so they can live a happier and stress-free life. Now here's your host, Debt Free Dad, Brad Nelson.
Hey, how's everyone doing today? You can find me on Facebook, Pinterest, YouTube, or Instagram. Just search Brad Nelson, Debt Free Dad, and welcome to today's show. And I got to tell you guys, I am super, you guys know I say this all the time. Whenever we have our Roots members on, these are my favorite shows because these are real people, everyday normal people practicing a lot of the stuff that we talk about on this show. And they are proof that with a little time, consistency, and discipline, you can make some major headway in your personal finances. And today's story is so exciting. And I've just been sharing this over the last the last month and a half now since this has happened. But Sammy's here to share some amazing progress that she's made. And Sammy is 30 years old. She is the oldest of 3 siblings. And currently she is living at home with her parents so she can save up to buy her home, which we're probably going to talk about that here today. She has been working in the service department at an auto dealership for the last 5 years, and she's also from Pittsburgh. She loves football, and she also enjoys James Patterson and Stephen King novels and all things Disney. They have 3 dogs, Bert, Fiona, and Jackie, and 2 cats, Tiki and LeBron. That is a full house of animals, Sammy. That's a lot of pets. Yeah, but welcome to the show. We're so glad that you are back and returning. How are you?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome.
As always.
Yeah.
As always.
You are officially our second, our first guest with actually a returning story on the podcast. So it's exciting to have you on. But you've got some amazing progress that you're going to share. And that's really what I want to kick it off. So you were on our show back in September. And back then you had shared, you had just joined Roots about 3 or 4 months. And you had been able to save and pay off over $12,000, which is amazing progress just in 3 to 4 months. It was spectacular. And but now it's about 4 months later, technically about 5 as we're recording this, but 4 months later, you reached this huge milestone. So we're going to kick off the show, and you're just going to let the cat out of the bag. Like, what have you been able to do, and how much debt and how much money have you saved since you've joined Roots like 9 months ago?
So as of January 18th of this year, I am officially 100% debt-free. I don't owe anybody money at all. Cars paid off, school loans are paid off, credit cards are paid off, and it's liberating, to say the least. I joined Roots April 29th of 2020, and since then, as of today, February 27th, when we're recording this, I have paid off $31,483.51, and I have saved $2,459.93. That includes paying for Christmas in cash last year, and of course saving up for a down payment and closing costs and all that for my home when I'm ready.
That is amazing. We're just going to give you a huge round of applause for that. Seriously, though, that is just a huge accomplishment. So now we're going to break this down because people are like, okay, in 9 months, she saved and paid off over $33,000. I mean, how is the question in a lot of people's minds? So let's break this down. So first, like 9 months ago, before you joined Roots, can you just share so we can kind of get you on the same page with everybody else? Like, what were some of the common things that you were struggling with the most that you felt was not helping you get these kinds of results?
My biggest thing that I probably wasted money on the most was food and eating out. And I know that that's a huge struggle that a lot of us talk about in the group, the Facebook page. My job is very fast paced. I'm on my feet all day. So it's so much easier to just like, okay, what's everyone ordering for lunch, right? And just like get in on that. But I was spending way too much money, way too much money. That was something that was really like a gut punch when I sat down and did, the course. And I thought that I was doing well because I was paying my bills on time. Everything was paid in full. I wasn't one of those people living paycheck to paycheck. I was lucky enough to, at that time, be in a stable enough financial state that I wasn't really struggling, but I was wasting a lot of money, like hundreds of dollars a month on nothing.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about, because I think, and we talk about this in Roots a lot. We also talk about a lot on the podcast that those who are wasting money or aren't exactly getting the results they want, we tend to find that they have really kind of loose or maybe even no real determined and written down financial goals. Would you say that was you totally before you started this? Like you wanted to probably get some things done or improve some things or buy a house, but you really had no tangible plan on how to actually do it?
Definitely. The thing that lacked in my life was guidance. And like you said, a plan and sort of just a concrete how-to. When I turned 25, I told myself that I would be debt-free at 30. That's why I started Pure Romance, was one of the reasons, and that's how I know you, you and Sarah. But that was one of the things that picking up that extra job and having that extra income was supposed to help me do. But I never knew how. Like there was, I learned about Dave Ramsey and the baby steps and all of that. And I thought that I was doing well and I thought that I was following his direction, but it really was very loose. And then I got promoted in 2018 and I doubled my income suddenly. And I still had no extra money to show for it. Like I was making, $60,000 a year, and I was in the same boat for 2 years. So having the plan and the guidance and the real seeing it on paper, like that this is attainable, and then you break it down month by month on how you're going to get there, it's a complete 180 in your mind. It changes everything. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like that you bring up the fact that, because some of the information that we're teaching here, these are basic financial principles, budgeting, spending below your means, saving first, and, paying off debt. And a lot of us, we know the basic concepts of how to improve our situation, right? It isn't a lack of knowledge. Like most people know that they should probably be concentrating on this stuff a little bit more. But like you said, it's very loose in a lot of our cases. Like it's hard to hold ourselves accountable and have the support to actually see the plan through. And that's what really Roots is that support and accountability system to actually put the plan in place and hold you accountable to it so you can actually get to where you want to go. And here you are 9 months later. And it's just a testament to show how powerful written goals, you're motivated, ready to change your life, along with the support and accountability to make it happen. Magical things happen. And this is just another story of that. So
people always wonder, like, what's like that magic pill, right? The diet or whatever. Like Roots is the magic pill. Like it really does exist when it comes to personal finance. So there's nothing that's going to make you lose 100 pounds overnight. But if you really are serious about your financial freedom and being secure and being ready for retirement or kids' college or whatever it is, Roots is your magic pill, 100%.
Yeah, and I think, the magic really kind of comes when we put all of these elements together in one place. And I think the biggest element that most people miss when wanting to improve their finances is that accountability side, is that support side. And that is just a huge part. So whether you get that from a program like Roots, if you're listening to this show, like you need to make sure that you've got some sort of system in place, because as Sami just said, and even in my own life, I experienced the same thing. It's not an income issue in a lot of cases. It's a spending issue. It's a discipline issue. It's a behavior issue. And those are the things that most of us as humans need the most help with. And that's what we focus on a lot here on the show and in our program, Roots Personal Finance. So Sami, can you take us back a little bit? You mentioned, you had noticed immediately when you first started joining a lot of the wasteful spending habits and things that you had, but can you share maybe just a couple of key things that helped you that could help somebody else that's listening to this? Like, what were some things? Obviously, you got on a budget, you started budgeting, but were there any other things that you did along the way to help you be able to save and pay off over 30 grand in just a 9-month period? Could you share some of those tips with them?
I really do think that the sole thing was being on the zero-based budget. Because again, I thought that I was doing well with my money. I budgeted, I had my paydays written down, I had my due dates written down. So like I knew where that money was going and when, but I didn't have a job for all of my money. I didn't have a job for all of my dollars. And that's where a lot of my wasteful spending, it just fell into like a bucket, right? Of just spend.
Yeah.
And definitely the behavioral change of bringing my lunch to work way more. I still eat out, you know, I'm not completely robbing myself of that. I still eat out like once a week, maybe, but that was huge, was saving the hundreds of dollars that I was throwing into food.
Yeah. Wait. Let me just get that right. You saved and paid off over $30,000 and you still go out to eat. You can actually do that?
I still go out to eat.
Oh my gosh, right?
We went out to dinner last night. We do. We still go out because I hearken it back to the whole diet thing. Like you cannot achieve your goals if you are completely depriving yourself of those small pleasures.
You got
whether
it.
It's a Starbucks coffee or a McDonald's milkshake or like going out to eat, date night, right? People need to keep their marriages alive, their relationships alive. So you do still need to give yourself that cushion and like that, you know, you have to allow yourself to still enjoy the things that you used to enjoy, just on a far less frequent scale. That's all.
Yeah, I love that. And talk about that enjoyment. Did you find that you appreciated it more when it was planned intentionally? Like when you go out to eat, do you appreciate going out to eat more now versus when you were doing it before, prior to starting all this?
Definitely. And so I joined right when COVID hit, and pre-COVID, me and my parents went out to eat for dinner probably, I would say at least 3 times a week.
Okay.
And if not almost every night. So like it would, sometimes I would buy, sometimes they would buy. So it's not like I was spending money every single day on eating out, but now we do it. Maybe we get takeout once a week for dinner. Or, you know, cause restaurants are still kind of, you know, going out to eat at a sit down place is still kind of hard. But, like I said, we went out to eat last night and I probably won't go out to eat until next weekend, just because if we go at all, you know, and I tell my parents, they're like, okay, well, where do you want to go for dinner? I'm like, you know what? I even told my mom yesterday, it's not in my budget for me to go out to eat. It's not in my budget right now. And he goes, oh, well, Dad's going to buy dinner. And I'm like, okay, twist my arm. But when it comes down to it, like if I have to pay, or if I'm the one, you know, sparking the conversation, I know that it's in my budget. And if it's not, then I don't offer, and it's not something that we do, and we just eat leftovers or, you know, find something in the pantry. So
yeah, that ability to say no. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I mean, have you gotten any pushback from your parents or anybody that you've said that to? Like, hey, it's not on the budget. Like, I can't do that.
Not particularly, and I think it's because it's COVID was the silver lining. Like it made it easier to say no.
Yeah,
because we can't really go out and do anything. So that, you know, like I said, I was fortunate all through COVID to have a job and to be in a good financial place anyway. So I never really struggled the way a lot of families are still struggling a year later.
Yeah.
But no, a lot of people, when I told them about my plan and, you know, the fact that I was going to be like, I was determined to be debt free at 30 years old and to keep a promise to myself. A lot of people were like, go girl, you know.
That's awesome.
My parents, I tried to kind of get them on the train to kind of help them, you know, get their finances in order. They're both nearing, my dad is retired. My mom's nearing retirement age, and Social Security just isn't enough.
Yeah. Right.
And it's just not. And I'm trying to kind of, you know, talk them into what can we cut out? What can we redo in the budget so that you guys aren't spending as much money every month, so that maybe you do have a little bit more in the savings if God forbid something were to happen, you know, down the line.
I love that you're helping them though, and giving them some of that feedback though, because that's huge. And sometimes, in our lives, we don't even necessarily have to teach people directly. They almost start just mimicking by actions that you're taking. And you get a lot of people interested just by, you're on a budget? Like, how does that work? Like, you've saved and paid off that much debt? Like, how does that work? Like, people are inquisitive because, you've reached like a milestone that most people don't ever reach. Like, so people's ears perk up when you hear like, I'm debt free. What do you mean you're debt free? Like, let's talk about this, right? It's interesting. Yeah. So I wanna share this real quick clip right from here from about back in September. I want to share this real quick and let's listen in what Sami had to say about 4 months ago.
I know now that I'm probably going to be debt free in the next 18 to 24 months, if not sooner, because I know how to tackle it now.
So just that part. So just 4 months ago, you were predicting that I'm going to be debt free in 18 to 24 months, but yet 4 months later, you've done it. I just had to share that. I was like, did you have any thought in your mind 9 months ago when you started this that like you would be here on this show celebrating that I'm completely debt free?
Not in a million years. I had seen the success stories. Obviously, like there are a lot of people in Roots who have paid off a larger amount than I have, but their stories are different, but they're doing it. So I just never thought that it was possible, right? Because before joining Roots, you're taught that debt is just something that people have forever. It's just a way of life. It's part of the consumerism, capitalism society. And like, it is what it is. You're never going to have a good credit score without it. Can't buy a car without it. Can't buy a house without it. So, it just, this is your life now.
Yeah.
And to be here less than a year later and to see the numbers and to, like, I don't know what to do with myself when payday rolls around anymore because I'm like, okay, what do I do? What do I do with all this money that I never ever thought would just be mine? Like it was always the next bill to pay, the next debt to pay, and to have that burden and that weight lifted off of your shoulders, it really is freeing. Like it's liberating, it's freeing. The stress just kind of melts away and it's awesome.
Yeah.
But never would I have imagined being here right now with these kind of numbers in April of last year. It would not in my wildest dreams.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. So, and I look at it, you just turned 30 and I mean, literally you have repaved your whole entire future just by taking this step this past year and working so hard and what an amazing difference it's going to make for you. And can you talk a little bit about, what's next for you? Like, you're debt free and you're kind of thinking like, what do I do with myself now? Right. So let's talk about some of those goals. Like, what are you working on and kind of what are you, cause this is that moment. Like I worked this hard to get here. Now it's like, what do we reset our eyes on? What's that next step? So what's it for you?
So the next step is definitely being a homeowner.
Yeah.
That is certainly one of the biggest goals. I mentioned obviously that my parents are nearing retirement age. I don't know what their plan is for their house that we live in right now when the time does come to maybe have to sell it. My dad wants me to have it, keep the house in the family. It's his dad's house. So obviously that might be something that happens, but the other thing, if putting the house hunt is on hold because I'm going to get my house eventually, is just saving for any emergencies. We talk about having that emergency fund. Right now, mine is up to $4,000. I would obviously like it to be higher.
Yeah.
But that'll cover car problems, anything should something happen in the house and my parents need help. I'm there to help. I live there too. Yeah. I use the water, I use the electricity.
Yeah.
And certainly saving for retirement. I need to look into investing.
Yeah.
I don't have any investments right now. I just have, my 401k, my IRA that I get through work as my foundation, but definitely setting myself up for success.
Yep.
To maybe, retire before I'm 65 and to be able to enjoy that life. But I'm a workaholic, so I don't know that I'll ever be able to fully retire. I'll probably need
samesies, me and you.
Right, some kind of like part-time job, just a couple days a week to like keep me grounded.
Yeah.
But either home buying, whether it's a house of my own, like signing my name on the dotted line, or inheriting my parents' house and being a homeowner in the home that I've always lived in, because I love our house. So,
but the cool part about all this is that literally, now that you have no more debt, no more payments. I mean, you literally, it's like choose your own adventure now. You're no longer held back by past decisions, past mistakes, and you have a clean slate, and now you get to say, this is what I want in my life, and you're gonna have just a way easier time and a lot less stress making it happen.
Yeah.
And that's just so cool and so awesome for you. I couldn't be prouder. You've done such a fantastic job, and you've also been a huge part of the Roots community. And can you talk a little bit about that? Because obviously, yes, I lead these people, I help these people, but it's not just me. Like, we have an amazing environment inside Roots, and we got this amazing support and accountability system inside just with our other members. Can you talk about how they have been kind of very helpful throughout this process for you over the last 9 months and keeping you motivated and focused?
Oh, absolutely. It's a giant group of cheerleaders, 100%. It doesn't matter where you are in your journey. It doesn't matter if you have $100 in your emergency fund or $10,000 in your emergency fund. It doesn't matter if you paid off your very first credit card or you're paying off your 10th credit card. The people in the Roots community they're an entirely different breed of people. Because we've all had that mindset change and that shift in the way we look at money now. It's no longer a taboo subject. We're all very open and honest about our struggles. We're open and honest about our triumphs and our wins. And it like I said, it doesn't matter where you are in your journey. They will be there to pick you up when you stumble, and they'll be there to lift you onto their shoulders when you're winning, because they know how you're feeling. They've been there, and to have that kind of accountability from a bunch of strangers, no less. We're not talking about like your friends and family who should be the ones supporting you on this type of journey. We're talking about strangers from all across the world who are strictly there to cheer you on, no matter where you are and what you're going through. And it's pretty amazing. And to be honest, Brad almost never answers any of the questions. If people come on there, like, honestly, we've all built up such a strong relationship with each other that, someone asks a question about, what do I do with this extra income? Should I spend it or save it? Should I pay off debt or whatever? Like, there are 10, 15, 20 people in there to jump on with their opinion. It's like, Brad says probably this, but it's really up to you. And then finally Brad comes in and it's like, yeah, what they said. And so you as a leader, that just goes to show that like you are a good leader and that you are doing what you are supposed to do in the way you present the program and the way you give us the tools. Because once you get to that point, you can help, you know what I mean? Like you've instilled that in us. Yeah. And so that I want you to know that's really important too, that you're the ringleader, but you're doing a really good job.
Well, I appreciate that, but that is the goal of the group is to create not necessarily a bunch of official financial coaches, but we all are financial coaches in our own regard. We all have our own experience. We've got people that have gone through different things that I've never gone through, and they're providing their insight on how they've gotten through it in the group. It's a really unique area, and I just wanted you to share what your experience was there, because as we kind of talked about, support and accountability is huge. So if you're listening to this show, that needs to be something on your kind of checklist. Where can I get this? Where can I find it? Because that's going to be a huge part of your results. And Sammy's story is a perfect example of that. All right, Sami, so last question before we let you go, and it's been awesome that you've been able to hang out with us and spend some time and sharing your awesome progress so far, but what would you say to someone who is maybe in your exact position 9 months ago? You hadn't started Roots yet. What would be some tips or things that you would say, hey, these are some things that if I was you, knowing what I know now and gone through what I've done, these are some things that I would focus on?
Sure. So the first thing obviously would be to join Roots, because it is what changed my life. I did, however, do one of your free workshops right beforehand. So if it's not in the budget to join Roots right now, which I get, it's not always something someone can dive right into, there are a lot of free resources that you offer both on your website and on Facebook to kind of get those footholds and those first couple, tools to start your financial freedom journey. So I would start with the free stuff if you absolutely have to, but if it is something that you can afford to do, join the program. Just do it. If I had joined Roots, in 2016, the first time I saw you at National Training, I would certainly be in a very different position now because I had less debt then. And I certainly would have been able to change my life sooner. So, if it's doable, definitely join Roots. I'll never forget the class that you gave, because I still have on my desk the little bumper sticker.
Yeah, I remember.
And it says, "I am worth it," with the little Pure Romance heart on it. And it's funny, I forgot that was your class until Mariah mentioned it in the one meeting that we did. And I was like, oh my gosh, I should have just listened then. Clearly, I had something clogging up my ears that I thought, this dude's crazy. Why would you give him money if you're trying to, why wouldn't I just use that to pay off debt or to save? But yeah, definitely if it's not in the budget, the free tools that you offer both on the Debt Free Dad website and in Facebook are great places to start. And again, you find a group of like-minded people who will still be there to support you even without the specific Roots program.
Yep. Yep. Awesome. So in what I would add to what Sami said is just get started. Get started with where you're at right now. Use this story, use Sami's story as hope. Like, hey, this is possible. And you may not get the same exact results, but that's okay. We all have our own resources. We all have our own mountains to climb. But the best thing that you can do for yourself is after this show today is to say, what are some things that I can get started right now? And you will make amazing progress. So again, huge round of applause again to you, Sami. You've done such a fantastic job. And we are just so proud of you. And again, I greatly appreciate you being a part of this podcast here today and also back in September and a huge part of our Roots community and showing people what's possible when you start to work hard and be intentional with this stuff. It's so awesome. So congratulations to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for everything, Brad. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, what's this I see? I thought this was a party! Let's dance!
All right, as you guys know, that sound means it's time for the celebrations of the show, and today we're going to kick it off with Heather Chadwick. Heather says, due to the weather this week, neither my husband or I worked much. Basically, we were snowed in. I know that our checks aren't going to be much next week, but I'm not worried about it thanks to having an emergency fund in place. I'm pretty sure that we will have enough money to cover rent, gas, and a few groceries without having to dip into our emergency fund. She says, it's just the simple fact that knowing it's there if we need it has made me less stressed about the situation. And that is why we talk on this show about emergency funds as much as we do. So that is awesome. Great celebration, guys.
Angela Sarro, I added $250 to my emergency fund and I paid off a small credit card. Also sold my old cell phone with a crack in the screen for $45.
Awesome. Great job.
Michelle Love was able to pay cash for my daughter's birthday present, and her birthday isn't until next month. And I also have the skating rink prepaid for the party.
Awesome. That's like going back to our old school days. Skating.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Love that. Debbie Hayden, Paid remaining balance of $5,500 on Capital One today. One more credit card to go. That is awesome. Huge congratulations.
Shelly Caldwell, March budget almost done. Only ate out one time this week at work, and income taxes are finished.
Awesome.
Sarah Catherine added $100 to the emergency fund. And I know this sounds silly, but I was cleaning the bathroom and noticed that the shower curtain looked gross. And I was all set to pick up a new one from Target, but then I started searching Pinterest for cleaning hacks. So I washed it instead of buying a new one. It was only a couple bucks, but I didn't have to spend it. And I just want to say, like, it doesn't sound silly because this used to be me. Like, I would easily just be like, I'm not fixing that. I'll just go buy a new one for $50 and but you don't realize you do that a lot. You can save a lot of money that way.
Yep. My wife just saved me from this. I had a really nice winter jacket. It's like 4 years old, but it was like in perfect condition. I mean, I work from home. Like, I'm not like out and about wearing a winter jacket all the time, but the zipper was completely shot. And I was like, well, I gotta get a winter jacket. She's like, why don't you just go take it in to get it fixed? I was like, I don't think they fix zippers. Sure as heck, she drops it off at a seamstress and they fixed it for $30. It's like a $200 jacket and I don't have to go buy a new one. So yeah, it's stuff like that. Those little decisions add up huge over time. Hey, thanks for hanging out with us here today. We love your feedback, and it also helps us grow our YouTube show. So please give us a like or leave us some honest feedback on this video. And if you want the latest from the show, obviously be sure to hit that notification bell and subscribe to our channel. And for the latest resources, or if you want more information on how to kick debt and financial stress, please be sure to check out the links in this video or head over to therealdebtfreedad.com. We'll see you guys on an upcoming show. Take care.